Good afternoon viewers, welcome to the telecom session of the School of Social Sciences. Today's topic is on library automation, practical tips. This topic is related to the program PGD LAN and particularly related to the course MLI 002 Library Automation. This is not only relevant to the program of PGD LAN, but this will be useful to almost all of our programs like BLIS, MLIS and SYSTL. Why we have chosen this topic today is just we can talk about the historical overview of library automation in India briefly. If we speak historically, the automation process started in the libraries in India during 80s, and computers also were used in libraries during the same period. The organizations like INSDOC, now NISCARE, CSIR, DRTC initiated the process of library automation to provide effective and improved services in libraries and information centers. But the level of improvement or progress is not up to the level what we expected. The reasons may be so many, like lack of knowledge in ICT among LIS professionals, lack of budget, lack of confidence, lack of interest and so on. So due to these reasons, the progress of library automation in India is not up to the level as I told you just now. So what are the reasons that can be overcome through giving some tips? That's why we have chosen this topic today. Let's now start with a small definition of library automation. If you look at this particular slide, it shows that it defines the use of automatic and semi-automatic data processing machines to perform such traditional library activities as acquisitions, cataloging, circulation and serials control. That means transferring the manual operations into mechanical operations using the computers effectively for providing efficient services. So this is the meaning of library automation. Why do we need library automation? Let's see now. What are the reasons for automating the libraries and information centers? The reasons could be information explosion. That is one of the important reasons. As you all know, the information is increasing rapidly over the years, and it is available in variety of formats also, such as electronic documents in the form of CD, DVD and so on, and the users need the information in any variety of forms or formats within no time. So here the need for automation comes. Information explosion is going on the one hand, and the other hand users need the information as quickly as possible. So here fulfilling the requirements of the users manually is quite difficult. Here the use of computer comes and becomes necessary to process the data and make available for the users to satisfy their needs. Then IT based user services. The another reason is providing IT based services like current awareness service, selective dissemination of information services, electronic document delivery service, digital reference service and so on. So this can be done only through using the computers. Then advent of ICT and World Wide Web. Nowadays the internet is playing a pivotal role in library and information centers. So there are so many software freely available and easily downloadable. So we cannot say that it is difficult to learn or practice the library automation software or knowing the basics of the computer and ICT applications in libraries and centers. So due to the availability of ICT and World Wide Web, it is easy for everyone to know what is happening and what is taking place in the modern world. So these things are easily available for LIS professionals, not only for LIS, for all professionals easily. Then cooperation and resource sharing. So the other reason is, due to lack of budget, a particular library cannot acquire all the documents required for the users due to lack of budget. So this, by sharing the resources among the libraries through interlibrary loan, can be fulfill the requirements of the users and avoid the duplication of the documents also. So it leads to save the money and time and effective utilization of the documents. Last but not the least, pressure from the authorities and users. This means nowadays there are so many institutions are coming up to provide education, and some other industries also coming up, and the users of different libraries also need information in variety of formats, as I told you just now. So the library and information professionals are pressurized by both the authorities, that means management of the institution, and the users. Here the LIS professionals have to obey the orders of the authorities and to be interested in providing the information to the users as and when they need. So this is one of the reasons why we should go for library automation. Then what are the essential points to be kept in mind before starting the process of library automation? For any professional, some basic inputs are needed for any process. Here the automation process is no exceptional. Here some of the basic points that a LIS professional should have with them to automate their libraries. The first point is acquiring the knowledge of IT. About these points I will give you in the later sessions some practical tips. So let's see an overall view about the requirements for library automation just now. So acquiring the knowledge of IT. Then identification of users' needs. Identification of areas to be automated, keeping the manual records and the databases up to date. And finally, selection and evaluation of software. So these are the important factors to be kept in mind before starting the automation process. Now let's come to how to acquire the knowledge of IT. What is IT? IT has different components like software, hardware, storage devices, operating systems, network components. At least a librarian or information professional should know the basics of a computer or network to go ahead of the automating process of any library or information center. So first one is software. Then what is software? Software is a set of instructions given to the computer to perform certain activities. So this can be of two groups. It can be classified into two: system software and application software. System software is just to control the operations or activities of the systems in general. Application software means it performs certain tasks predefined and developed by a software professional or programmer. So this is called application software. Here we have to know our LMS, that means library management software or system, comes under which category, either under system software or application software. This is a basic knowledge to be acquired for LAS professionals. So this our automation software comes under application software because it is predefined what are the activities to be performed in the library in various sections or areas of the library. Then hardware. Hardware means components of computer. The components may be keyboard, mouse, CPU, monitor, etc. At least you should know what is what of all these things. It is no need to go in depth technologically, but at least you should know what it does, what does it mean. This type of things one should know and keep in mind. Then storage devices. This is used for storing the data in the memory of the computer, or this can be used by outside storage also, that is called secondary storage. That may be in the form of floppy, CD-ROM and DVD. Then operating systems. Operating systems, it is an interface between the user and the computer. The operating system helps to interact between the hardware and software. So these type of basic things one should know before starting the automation process. Then these are the basic things about the computer. What is computer? What are the components? What is software? What are the devices that can be used for storing the data? And operating systems. Then network components. In the library, we cannot store the data and use the data stored within the library. This has to be shared due to the availability of technology. As I told you, the data which has been stored in the computer should be shared. For that, network is very important. You might have come across that there are three types of networks: LAN, MAN and WAN. Through these network systems, the information is transmitted to different users so that the data can be used simultaneously by many users. So the network components may be modems, multiplexers, hubs, switches, routers, bridges and transceivers. So these are the basic knowledge about the ICT. Then identifying the user's needs. Say for example, in a library there are many ways to assess the user's needs. It may be through personal interaction. The library and information professionals should keep on interacting with the users who come to the library regularly and ask their opinion about the services of the library and what things can be improved upon the services exist. Then the questionnaire method. A predefined questionnaire has to be framed for knowing the data about the library from the users to improve the services. Then user statistics. So this is also possible in any library to prepare statistics of the users about the usage of documents of a particular subject, the usage category of users and so on. These type of things will help the librarian or information professional to assess the needs of the users. So after identifying the needs of the users, we have to identify the areas that can be automated. Here we have mentioned 5 areas: acquisition, cataloging, circulation, serials control and OPAC. So these 5 areas are the major ones in any library and can cover almost all the activities performed by the library or information center. Now let's see what is acquisition. Acquisition is related to purchase or procurement of documents for any library. So it has to come across, or it involves so many processes. The functions to be performed to overcome this process are receiving and maintaining new requests from the users. That means selection of books in any library is open to all. There are some tools like bibliographies, directories. These are the things that can be used for selecting documents for any particular library to be procured. Apart from these tools, users are the king of a library who can also suggest books for purchase. When they suggest some books, we have to receive the comments or suggestions from the users. That has to be recorded in a proper way and should be maintained also in a very systematic way. Then checking the duplicates. After receiving the, actually what we do in the library, we receive suggestions from many users. A same person or different person can suggest the same book somebody has already suggested. So that has to be checked, that has to be taken care of by the library staff. That is called duplicate checking. That is checked either manually or mechanically. Then print purchase order. After checking the duplicate, some documents are selected for purchase. Before sending the purchase order, that has to be approved by some committee called library committee. So after finalizing these things, the final print purchase order has to be made. Then maintaining book fund accounts and print book fund reports. Provide information on orders outstanding and sometimes works in process. In case of delay in getting the books from the publishers, that has to be informed well in advance to the users about the orders outstanding and the work in progress about the received documents recently. Then payment works such as generation of vouchers or payment orders. Finally, accessioning of received documents. After doing all these process, checking duplicates and selection of documents, purchase order, maintenance of accounts, ultimately it comes to the department acquisition section to accessing the documents. There the serial number of the document is assigned to each and every book that is received by the library. So these are the things which are generally performed in acquisition section. Doing these things manually is very difficult. That's why we are going towards library automation, and with time I will give you some of the examples of a particular software called Soul. Then let's talk about automated cataloging. After acquiring the documents in a particular section, accessioning is done. Then it is sent to the technical department section, that is called cataloging. There the books are processed, classified and catalogued for use. There the activities involved in this process are title in process. Here after receiving the documents, it is accession first, then it comes to the cataloging division. There the entries, that means catalog entries, are made to be kept outside for users reference. That is called title in process. Then retrospective conversion. This is another important thing which is overheard everywhere. The retrospective conversion can be done in two ways, either manually or mechanically. Manually means the converting the existing conventional catalog into the computerized catalog. This is called manual system. Then mechanical system is, if you have already a database of books and periodicals, that can be converted through using import option of any software. This is called retro conversion. And union catalog. After making the catalog, it is sometimes made available for sharing the catalog by the other libraries or information centers. The Delnet online catalog is an example of this union catalog. Then authority file creation and maintenance. Authority files are created for author, title, subject, publishers or authors and so on, and these have to be maintained properly also. Then data entry of print and non-print materials. Libraries acquire some non-book materials also apart from the print materials. That also has to be served properly and maintained, duly taking care of their preservation. Then copy cataloging and downloading. This is also possible in the automated environment. Then providing online public access catalog. And finally, generation of reports. For generation of reports, sometimes barcode also possible. Barcode for the documents that can be used in the circulation section to issue or return the documents. So these are the things which are happening and performed in automated cataloging system. Then circulation. First, in the acquisition section, books are acquired, then it is sent to the cataloging section for process. After that, it is served after processing the documents, then it is circulated also to the users. So for circulation, the book ultimately comes to the circulation section. Here the activities performed by any library may be issue, return, renewal, reserve, recall, calculation of fines, reminders for overdue documents, status of the borrowers, generation of barcodes for users and reports. So these are the activities performed in circulation section. So doing these things, one cannot imagine that manually doing is great difficulty. That's why usage of computer is positively taking care of everything and more beneficiaries also. Then functions of automated serials control. We were talking about the books just now. If you look at this particular slide, the whatever may be the system, whether it is conventional or computerized, there must be a separate section for the periodicals to be maintained properly, because we keep on receiving some issues, dailies, monthlies, quarterly, half-yearly, annual publications also. So every document should be recorded in a register or in the computer. For these things, using computers intensively is very important. The activities performed in the serials control could be subscription of periodicals like journals, magazines, newspapers and so on. Then after completing certain period of subscription, that has to be renewed. Then cancellation of subscription due to some reasons, maybe lack of budget or lack of use of that particular journal or magazine. Then budget control, invoice processing, recording the receipt of journal issues, sending reminders for missing issues, binding control, accessioning bound volumes, barcoding of accession numbers for the bound volumes, report generation, editing and updating of records, searching by title, publisher, distributor, etc., sorting by date or volume or issue number, and article indexing. These are the important activities performed in serials control. Now let's talk about OPAC. OPAC stands for Online Public Access Catalog. This OPAC is playing an important role under replacing the conventional cataloging system of libraries to a larger extent nowadays. This OPAC provides the information for the users to retrieve their documents in a particular library. So this is playing a role as a tool to retrieve the document of any library, and it is a key to the collections of a library also. A user who comes to the library may be knowing any of these things which has been mentioned in the slide. He may come with aim of searching a book by author, title or subject, publisher, access number, call number, ISBN. These are the tools, these are the components that can be used for searching a document by a user. For these components, a library or information center should provide the adequate information for the users to retrieve the document through any component which has been mentioned here. See, if he wants to search a book by author, he may be knowing the first word or second word or third word. There may be 3 words in the author name. If he knows any one of these words, then also it must be possible for a user to locate the documents. So that facility has to be provided by the library in the automated environment. So these are the things that can be provided through OPAC for users. Then up-to-date records. For automating a library, keeping the manual records is very much important, because it is a just conversion from manual system to the mechanical. Whatever we are doing manually will be done by the computer. For that, we should have appropriate manual records that can be transferred easily without any difficulty. So the things, that means the records that have to be kept appropriately, may be access and register. You might have come across that access and register has number of columns. It contains the bibliographical details of documents. Say for example, access number, call number, title of the book, author name, physical description area, and name of the publisher and address, page number, even price also sometimes. So these things are to be recorded in the computer also in case of automated library. So the access register should be perfect, keeping all this information available. Then authority files, self list, classification of documents, cataloging of documents, listing of binding documents, list of periodicals, database of books and periodicals if any. Either it may be manual or mechanical, everything should be perfect for starting the library automation process. Then let's see the important component or factor that has to be kept in mind before starting the automation process. We have discussed about the things manually, what are the activities performed in a particular library in different sections or modules, including OPAC. We have taught about acquisition, cataloging, circulation, serials control and OPAC. So these are the areas to be evaluated before automating process. Now after doing all such processes, selection and evaluation of a library software is a difficult task. Here, what are the parameters to evaluate a software? Why do we need evaluation? Evaluation, ultimately the aim of the evaluation of a particular software is to provide service efficiently and effectively. The term efficient may imply that it should be perfect by providing improved services and satisfied users, and effectively means with minimum cost and providing all facilities. So these are the things why we want to evaluate a particular software. The parameters that can be evaluated for a particular software may be identification of software, review of existing software, comparison of the leading software, functionality, cost, market share, support. Identification of software means we have to first identify the software that can suit to our size of the library and activities performed. For that we have to, the obvious way is to identify the software is interacting with the neighbors and visiting other libraries who are using the software and having some demonstration either from the company, that means owner of that software, or from the institution who are well versed with the software. Then review of existing software. Review also should be done in the same way like identification of software. Then comparison of the leading software. So there are so many commercial softwares available. We have to choose very carefully and compare the software that performs the entire activities that are going to be performed through the automation process in our particular library. Then functionality. We were talking about some modules and discussed about the functions also. Whether these particular softwares have their functionalities, whatever we discussed just now. Then cost. This is an important factor. So within the limited budget, we have to choose a software that can be satisfied by the services of the library and cost should be reasonable. Then market share. Market share means we have to see the number of libraries using the software, and we have to ask the difficulties and positive negative points of that particular software also, so that the inconvenience or complications may be avoided in future. Then support. I was talking about just now OPAC. This should support the OPAC facility also, and also web OPAC. Then maintenance. Maintenance is another important part. We have to keep on doing research on that particular software which we are going to purchase for our library. In case of any changes, need or modification or addition in the particular software, there must be some flexibility and reliability also. Then performance also we have to check before starting the automation process. We have to invite some of the people of that software or anybody who knows already about the software. We have to ask the performance of that software and modules. Then scalability. Scalability means whether the particular software which we are going to purchase will suit and how much data it can handle. Maybe the size of the, there are different kinds of libraries, academic, school, college and university libraries. The size may vary. It depends upon the nature of the institutions. So that according to the nature of the institutions, that particular software has to perform the activities or it has to handle the data what the library has. That scalability is very important. First of all, we have to evaluate the size of our library and the collections and the services which you are going to provide. So these are the scalability things. Then usability, security, the another important thing. That data may be lost sometimes due to some technical problems. For that you have to have some backup, and security point of view, this should be very perfect in maintenance and keeping the records also. Then flexibility, as I told just now, flexibility must be there. If you want to modify the data according to the situation of your library, there should be some flexibility in the software itself. If you want to change, if you for example, if you want to add the user's photograph in the circulation counter, there should be some provision for that, and if not possible, there should be some chances for modifying the software to insert the photograph for easy identification. So these are the things to be kept in mind while evaluating a library software. Then these are the things whatever I discussed just now. Before starting the automation process, we have to evaluate this type of things. These are the factors to be kept in mind. What we have to do after automation? After automation, user orientation is very important. So take an institution as an example. Every year they are getting new students. Similarly, for library also, they are new. They have to be oriented properly about the services offered by that particular library and the collections what we have. They should be oriented properly, that can lead to the effective utilization of the collections and quality output for the institution. Then staff training. A librarian may be well versed with any software, and he may be getting some training from the creators of the software or anybody who is popular with the software. Then this has to be trained for other staff members also to provide effective services. Then assessment of user satisfaction. This I have already explained. There are so many methods like questionnaire, statistics and interaction. Then a network initiative and web OPAC. After automating the libraries, keeping the documents usable for only the internal members is not effective. We have to take some initiative to provide the information through web OPAC about the collections of our library. Then maintenance of server and clients. This part comes about the maintenance of software. So this is about server and clients. Then up-to-date reports of documents and users. The bodies like ICT and UGC, they keep on visiting the institutions to follow up whether they are following the standards or not. So library is also one of the departments. They see the improvements and progress, the level of progress carefully. The library has to keep the records up to date about the list of titles, list of collections in various forms, and a list of periodicals, user statistics. These type of reports are very important for any committee to be shown. And improving the services in relation to the latest developments. The library and LIS professionals should keep themselves up to date with the latest developments so that they can provide improved and quality services according to the changes of the environment. So these are the things people have to keep in mind after automation. Here we are coming to the practical tips. Now so far I have discussed about the things to be learnt and things to be kept appropriately in the library, then evaluation criteria for a library automation software, these things. So what are the practical tips that can be given for any user to learn? The practical tips are First of all, learning ICT basics, then practice through open source software for LMS, practice through open source software for digital libraries, visiting automated and networked libraries, attending workshops, conferences, invited talks, lectures, etc. on emerging areas, and keep up to date. The learning ICT basics means due to the availability of internet, there are chances for everyone to learn easily on free of cost. Learning ICT basics is not very difficult. If you look at this particular slide, go to the internet and visit this website which has been mentioned here. This URL is just, it is in blue color. It will give you the free tutorial, online and interactive. Whatever you want to learn, say for example, you want to know about the software or hardware, operating systems, storage devices, these type of things, basics of computers will be available online. Then you can go ahead little advanced also if you want. So there are chances for learning more and more advanced. So this URL will help you to learn the things systematically about the ICT basics. If you want to have some examination, the second URL will help you to have examination online. That is also absolutely free. So these are the tips for learning ICT basics freely. Then open source software for LMS. Library management software, there are some commercial software also, and at the same time open source software are freely available and these are freely downloadable also. Some of the things I have mentioned here. The software for university libraries, which was developed by InflipNet Ahmedabad, they have developed this to improve the services of the universities and colleges in the country. If you visit this website, you will get the demo version of that particular software to have a clear idea about the automation software. Just you can work on that. It is freely downloadable. Then Koha, this is foreign origin software. Actually this was developed by New Zealand. This is also one of the open source software freely available. Then open source software for digital libraries. So after automating the libraries, some of the documents are to be digitized and kept in electronic form. Commercial softwares are very expensive, but at the same time there are some open source software like LMS available for digital libraries also. These two are the important softwares which are widely used, and many of the organizations are conducting workshops on this particular topic also. The first one is DSpace and other one is GSDL, which is called Greenstone Digital Library. And finally, I have extracted some screen snapshots from the software Soul. Just now I told you about the software. This was developed by InflipNet Ahmedabad. So this is the screen about acquisition module. The next one is automated cataloging module, then circulation and serials control, OPAC. This OPAC. These are the things which I wanted to share with you practically. If you go ahead according to the instructions or the discussion given today, this will be appropriate for you to learn more about library automation and networking. So these are things I wanted to share with you. I hope you might have benefited a lot of things from the discussion. Thank you. Best of luck.